I've created this interface. There is one button and one list box. As soon as I click on the button, it should display 10 to 100 using for loop. Now again, I would like you guys to please look at the board. I will give you time to do this by yourself. I'm not going to run to another application after this. I want you to know how to write code quickly and how to avoid making mistakes. Okay, and if there is a mistake, how to solve it. So let's start doing our application. First of all, do I need to read something from the user? Look at the interface. Should display button and list the numbers 10 to 100. So do I need to read something from text box? No. So all I need is the for loop basically. No need to declare variables. So I start with for loop. It says, let's look at the syntax again. For counter is 10. It starts with the counter. The initialization is there. The decision is there. The update is there in the same line. And then you display. So let's go back. For this is my initialization. Int counter is. It starts with 10. Don't do this, please, Reem. Let me finish this. I want you guys to look at this. Counter is 10. We do the initialization, and the decision counter is less than 100, and then counter plus plus or what? Plus 10, because I wanted to increase by 10, 20, 30, 40, 60, 80, 90, 100. Okay, so now this is not a valid line. Counter plus 10. Counter plus plus is okay because that's a shortcut. Counter plus 10, there is no shortcut. Plus 10, 20, 30, 40. There is a shortcut for only increasing 1. So you have to do this. Counter is equal to counter plus 10. You have to write it like this because there is no other shortcut for increasing by any other number except for 1. So please remember, after for there is no semicolon. There is no semicolon. If you write that, your loop will not work. You see this semicolon? After if, there is no semicolon. After else, there is no semicolon. After while, there is no semicolon. After for, there is. How will you know this? Please remember, semicolon is only after statement. What's a statement? This is a statement. You initialize something by 10. You exchange values. Counter is equal to 10. Or counter plus plus. Or display something. Message box or display. This is a statement. Statement means you ask the computer to do something. Give the value 0 to a variable, etc. Display message box, display on a label, read from the text box. This is all instructions. For is not one instruction, it's a loop. While is also loop. If is a decision. So there is no semicolon after it. So I read it from here. And then there's only one thing. There's only one thing which will be happening over here, which is there is no display. There's the list box. We have to add items in the list box like we did in the while loop. Remember the while loop? So what's the name? Numbers. Now please look at this. I want you to please look at this. Please again stop reading, stop looking at your laptops or mobiles. This is very important. You make mistakes. I don't remember what was L was capital, N was capital in my list box. So I write numbers list box. So now this guy comes up. It says numbers list box. So take that suggestion. Okay, because if, for example, if I am having capital letters and I write numbers, even then it will give me suggestion. And if you double click this or from your keyboard, it will correct it. So numbers list box dot items dot add. So I is capital, A is capital. Who can remember this? It's difficult. I can remember, but it's difficult for you because you're starting to learn program. So the easier way is to use code suggestions and do not type like this. I do this dot items dot add, and you say, sir, there is problem, I'm writing the right code. You're writing the right code, but you did not take suggestions. There is a problem here. A should be capital and here I should be capital. Obviously it's difficult for you to remember, so take code suggestions. Dot items, you see this items came up, I is capital, take it. A is capital, add. And here you add this number in the bracket, counter. And there is a semicolon after it. Khalas. Your program is finished. It is only essentially 2 lines. The for loop, and this is basically displaying it on the list box. So display on list box. So let's run this and check what happens. Now please do not start. I am yet to show you how to solve problems. I start the program. It comes up 10 to 100. 10 to 90 basically. What should I do to make it 100 also appear over here? Any idea? Here? Make it less than equal to. Or make it 110. Or make it even 101. It will work. Because as long as it is, the condition is true, it will keep on continuing. Is 100 less than 101? Yes, it will keep on continuing and show you the value. As long as it is true. Okay, so less than equal to 100 if you like, do it this way. It's also exactly the same thing. Now please come back and look here. Are you guys with us? You have your break time, you can use this time to, otherwise I'll ask you a question, you two, and you have to answer. So please come back over here. Now there is some errors which I see most of you seem to have having more often, and which appears like this. Comes because of this. There is no bracket. You delete it. I don't know what you do, but you guys have been doing this. Somehow you delete it and the program does not run. You see how to solve this. I'm showing you. Do not run this. First solve the problems. On the right side you see the red button, the red icon over here. It shows you there is error in your program. And if you go to view, error list, it will show you the list of errors. What are the errors? So here is the error list. I have just moved it down, and it is giving me 2 errors. You see, it shows me the closing bracket expected somewhere. The second one also closing bracket expected somewhere. You double click on it, it will show you where. It says here it is expected that you add a closing curly bracket. So it's shift and I think ta marboot in your keyboards. This curly bracket you write over here, this will go away. It goes away. There's one more. You double click it, it will tell you there is a curly bracket expected here. So you write here also. And khalas, it's gone. So this is one most common errors I'm seeing that you guys are having. Somehow you delete it and then it does not work, even though your code is correct, but the brackets are misplaced. So please make sure you do not misplace the brackets. You have to write all your code inside the button click. The button click is this block where the button click method is, this block, and inside here you can write your own blocks, your if, else, etc. Now please, this is one error you guys have been doing most commonly. Now the second one which I've seen, by mistake, instead of this, there's a label somewhere, because we've been using labels and text boxes too much, which says enter number, and then you enter number. By mistake you double click here. Please watch the board. By mistake you double click here and you say, oh, this is the wrong place, I have double clicked. I don't have to write code over here. I will go double click here and I will write the code here, which is correct. But first you double click here and then you delete this. See what I'm doing. You double click here, but now you realize that you have double clicked the wrong place. No problem, but don't delete it, because it has created the block automatically. So, or you can double click on the list box also and you now realize, maybe after writing a couple of lines, that this is the wrong place. So do not delete this. Look what happens when I delete this. I delete this, and then I think I'll go back to the display button, double click and write the code over there. It breaks, you see, because I deleted it. I deleted where the wrong place I double clicked, and it added a block for me, and then I deleted that block. Please don't delete it, no problem, keep it there. Just double click on the button and write the code over there. I'm going to undo this. Go back, undo by Control Z, and then go to the design, and then now no problem. Let me show you the label also. I'll double click the label, and this is the block which is created, and I delete it because I now realize I shouldn't be writing code here. But when I go to design, there is error. It does not come up. So I need to be solving these issues by realizing that if I made that mistake, do not delete this block. Just come back in the design, double click the button, and khalas, that's all. Okay, thank you very much. I'm gonna stop this.